Grammar Scene Ballroom today. My name is Kritika Mallikarjuna. I'm the features editor at TV Guide. I'll be moderating, but enough about me. Let's bring out the people you really came here to see, starting with executive producer of She-Ra, Noelle Stevenson. Put your hands together! Woo! Up next, we have the voice of Adora and She-Ra, Aimee Carrero. And next up is the voice of Glimmer, Karen Fukuhara. And last but not least, Marcus Scribner as the voice of Bo. All right. Why don't we kick this off with Noelle? For those in the audience that aren't familiar with She-Ra, why don't you tell us a little bit about the story and how the series came together?
Yeah, absolutely. She-Ra's the story of a girl who's raised, she thinks she's an orphan as far as she knows, and she's raised by this evil authoritarian army, and she's raised to be like a soldier of evil, not that she knows that. So at some point, she realizes that she's on the wrong side, and around that same time, she finds this magical sword. And lifting this magical sword and saying the magic words transforms her into a super-powered warrior goddess named She-Ra. And as She-Ra, she joins the rebellion, she fights back against the evil Horde, the people who raised her, her friends, and chooses to do the right thing. And along the way, teams up with a lot of other awesome characters.
Awesome. And Noelle, I'm sure everyone in this room knows you from Tumblr and has been following you for a long time. But why don't you tell us about how you were brought on board to the series? Like, what's your journey been from famous Tumblr fan to showrunner?
Wow. I could have never in a million years imagined that I'd be here like this. This is, it's blowing my mind. I started as a fan artist, actually, on Tumblr. I drew a lot of Avengers, a lot of Lord of the Rings. I did the Broship of the Ring. After that, I started to write and draw my own comics. So I wrote and drew a graphic novel called Nimona. I like you guys. I'm one of the co-creators of Lumberjanes. Yeah. And so that led me into animation writing. I started on Disney's Wander Over Yonder as a staff writer, and that led me into the world of animation. And when I heard that DreamWorks was looking for someone to pitch She-Ra, I jumped at the chance. I was so excited about the property, and it is such an amazing and unique property to be able to work with. So that's in short how I came here.
Lovely. And were the rest of you guys familiar with the show when you auditioned?
That'd be a hard no.
Me as well.
Same.
I think, I think that we just missed the original. We were like, we're not old enough to enjoy. But when I got the,
What are we gonna do about that?
no, when I got the email with the appointment, I read it out loud and I said, She-Ra, what's that? And my husband was like, oh my God, you don't know She-Ra? And I was like, well, I have to audition for this now. And so I watched some of the episodes available on YouTube, and I familiarized myself with it. And then I said, well, it's not a little different, but I'm gonna go for it, and hopefully they're into it.
Nice. And why don't you guys introduce your characters for us? Tell us a little bit about who you're playing.
You want to go first? Yeah. Oh, okay. I play a character named Glimmer. She is the... Thank you. Thank you, guys. She is the princess of Bright Moon. She's fiercely stubborn and passionate about leading the rebellion, fighting off the Horde with her best friend Bo, and later on Adora. I love playing her because I get to tap into, her girly side, which I don't really get to do on screen a lot of the time.
I guess that's my cue. I play Bo on She-Ra. Yeah, that way. But Bo is he's actually the rebellion's tech master, so he's a nerd, but he's a super dope, awesome, cool nerd, just like many of you guys, I'm sure, and me as well. So he's a super strong, motivated character who's really all about friendship and supporting the rest of the rebellion and the princesses of power, alongside with his homies Glimmer and She-Ra. They really do a good job of trying to bring down the Horde. So he's a dope character.
Nice.
I really spend most of my time playing Adora, who transforms into She-Ra, and that's sort of like her just super superhero, super. That's great. I'm doing fine.
Sasha Fierce.
Her Sasha Fierce. But what I love about Adora is that she's so imperfect, and that's really fun to play because I've said this so many times today, so bear with me if you've already heard this, but I find it to be a story of redemption. You know, what happens when you realize that maybe you haven't been doing the right thing, and how do you make up for it? How do you move forward? How do you build relationships with new people, but also have to say goodbye to people that aren't helping, like Catra? And that's a really complicated, beautiful relationship that I hope you guys will enjoy.
And so these are not the only princesses in the show. Noelle, would you like to tell us a little bit about some of the others? I believe we have some key art to show you guys.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Look at them. Aren't they so cute? Yes, they are. So here we have, as usual, this show is about, very true to the original. It's about the dark and the light in all of us, but it's good versus evil, and on this poster we see the side of good and the side of evil. So we've got Adora, we've got Bo and Glimmer. Over here we have Catra. Catra is, she's Adora's former best friend. They grew up incredibly close, and when Adora left the Horde, Catra was devastated. And so that's a relationship that is really core to the show. And they never stop being important to each other, even when they end up on opposite sides of the war. We also have some of the other princesses. We have Entrapta, who's the techie geek princess. She loves robots more than anything. We've got Scorpia, who's the strongest, and she's she's on the side of evil, but she's so friendly.
Bo's a super interesting and cool character because obviously he's a male character that's on a predominantly female show, and I think he really illustrates the importance of such a role in that he supports his female companions. He's really there as a safety net kind of situation as well. Like, he's not at the forefront of combat. He doesn't have any magical abilities, but he supports them to the best of his ability. And he's all about friendship and compassion. And I think he's a really interesting male character that we don't see illustrated too often on television, especially not in animated shows. So.
I think the audience has been great, and they deserve some footage.
Yeah.
Right? All right, Noelle, do you
Roll
want
the
to set
clip.
up this clip for us? I understand we have a couple minutes of the pilot to show everyone.
This is the first few minutes of our pilot, our introduction to Adora and our introduction to the show. So I'll let it speak for itself.
But Aimee, why don't you tell us a little bit about the dynamic between Adora and Catra, which, by the way, is like one of my fave, interesting relationships on the show.
Yeah, it's incredibly complicated, like all relationships are in real life. But I think Noelle and our writing staff does such a good job of playing the nuance of that relationship, because I think everybody here can probably relate to having a loved one, a friend, someone like a sister or a brother or whatever, who means so much to you, but they're kind of just not doing the right thing, and it sometimes comes down to, like, am I gonna sit here and watch you do something terrible and bring me along with you, or am I gonna stand up for what's right, and maybe that means leaving you behind and hoping that one day you'll come back and I'll welcome you back with open arms. So I think that's an arc that spans, the entire show, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the core relationships of the show. Is again, it's the light and the dark, and two people who grew up together and are very similar in certain ways. And then the moment when someone grows a little bit farther than the other, and there's bitterness, there's betrayal. It's really tragic in a lot of ways because they still really care about each other.
We've played some really heartbreaking scenes too, which. AJ Michalka, who plays Katra, will be like sobbing in front of each other, and then we'll look over at Noelle and Mary, our voice director, and they'll just be like,
I know, really clutching our hearts.
Yeah, because I
like push the button. I'm like, could you cry more this time?
So that is one of the main relationships on the show, but the other one is Glimmer and Bo. Karen, Marcus, do you want to give us a little scoop on their friendship?
Yeah, Bo and Glimmer have the most fun friendship going on. Bo is thankfully the most supportive friend anyone can have. Glimmer has her moments, and she thinks she's doing the right thing, but sometimes she's not, as everyone in life does. And he's always there. He's her #1 cheerleader and supporter, and no matter through thick and thin, he's there. And I think that's a great takeaway from the show because, it's always nice to have those unconditional friendships, like Aimee's character is going through in the show. Sometimes we do make mistakes and we don't do the right thing, and it's always nice to have those friendships that will be there no matter what.
Yeah, to add on to what Karen was saying, I feel like Bo and Glimmer definitely have a dynamic relationship in the same way that Katra and Adora do. Bo tries to remain the moral compass throughout it all, and Glimmer's also a super supportive, dope best friend. Like, they just build each other up like it's Jenga blocks, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
their friendship is unbreakable, and they definitely have a super strong bond. Like I was saying, Bo tries to remain the moral compass, but he tries super hard, and sometimes that can get to him, but Glimmer's always there to pick him up, so. Yeah.
Nice. Well, why don't we play a little clip of the audience so we can see their friendship in action?
That was a lot stronger than I thought.
Oh. That line reading
Whoa.
kills me every time, Marcus. Like, when I saw the pilot while I was prepping for this panel, I was like, oh, God. I'm not a princess either. It's okay, Bo. Don't worry.
You can be.
Exactly. The whole point of She-Ra. So Glimmer and Bo sort of become essential to opening Adora's eyes in terms of, the evil effects of the Horde. How do they meet, and how do they bring her around to this? Because obviously they're on opposite sides of a war.
Yeah, Adora she's very, as soon as she sees the sword, she knows she has to go back for it. So she goes into rebel-controlled territory in order to get the sword. And that's where she runs into Bo and Glimmer. And they're on opposite sides, and they see each other, and they all just start screaming. And they fight for the sword, and Adora ends up captured by Bo and Glimmer. So she's their prisoner, and that's really her. She starts to see the world through their eyes. Glimmer's, she's very upset because the Horde has been taking everything from them. Glimmer's family has been torn apart by the Horde, and so she takes it very personally. She does not like Adora at all. She does not trust her. But Bo, he sort of thinks he can become friends with anybody if he tries hard enough, and so he is sort of more gentle towards Adora. He tries to open her eyes, and they show her the world as they see it. And Adora, she starts to see. She's never really been outside the Fright Zone. She's always been raised to do this one thing, and suddenly she starts questioning all of that. And that's her arc through the first few episodes. It's just, what is real? What that's been told me is a lie, and what's true?
Topical.
Come over to the good side.
Yeah.
So once Adora begins to, learn about her new identity as She-Ra, how does this affect her outlook on the Horde? Which, obviously they have evil in front of Horde, so maybe that should have been a clue. But she was also raised by these people since she was a little girl.
Yeah, it's really hard for her to turn her back on the people that she loves. But there's also no choice in her mind, because as soon as she knows what the right thing to do is, that's what she's gonna do. And that's something that Catra doesn't understand, because Catra is just like, we have a good thing going, why are you messing this up? And that's really the rift between them.
Aimee, do you want to tell us a little more about how, the mantle of She-Ra affects Adora's relationship with Catra?
The what of She-Ra, sorry?
The mantle
Oh, the
of She-Ra.
mantle. Well, what's interesting on a physical level, She-Ra is like this giant, she grows, which I wish, grows a few inches or more. She becomes like this statuesque soldier. So whereas before, Catra and her, it was definitely like 50-50, like who would win in a fight. When she is She-Ra, it's really no question who's going to win that fight. So there's that. And I think there's also a betrayal that Catra feels toward Adora. And she's like, there's so many episodes where she's like, what happened to you? Like, where's your sense of loyalty? Where's your sense of family? And I think for Adora, it just completely breaks her heart that she can't make her see. And she has to decide over and over again to leave her. It's not a one-time thing.
Man, tragedy. Tragedy.
Very
on the
sad, but there are
horizon.
some light moments.
Sometimes we have jokes.
I believe we have another clip to show you guys. Noelle, if you wouldn't mind setting the stage for the Thamar attack.
This one doesn't have jokes. This is a little bit of the moment between Adora and Catra when they find themselves for the first time on opposite sides.
Transformation sequence. Oh man, I love it so much. So the Horde attack on Thamar seems to be pretty eye-opening for Adora. How does this put into motion events for her, Glimmer, and Bow? Where are they heading from here?
So, Glimmer and Bow, oh, sorry, do you want to go?
No. I was going to ask you to repeat the question, so please take the
Thank you, Karen. How kind of you. Yeah, Glimmer and Bow, they're young rebels, and everything that they're trying to do is to fight back against the Horde, save their homes, save their people from this evil totalitarian regime that's rising. And so with Adora and with She-Ra, they find this third member of their best friend squad, their group, someone who's really going to help them. This time, they've been losing this war against the Horde, and this is someone who can actually help push back. And so they become this really, really tight friendship of three people, and it's beautiful.
Shout out to Marcus for getting to say the line "Best Friend Squad." It's
Oh, I'm
very
sorry.
charming. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So as the rebellion embraces Adora, what's going on with the evil Horde? Noelle, do you want to tell us a little more about Shadow Weaver and Hordak and their roles in the series?
Yeah, Shadow Weaver is the second in command to Hordak. She handles a lot of the actual goings-on in the Horde. Hordak is a little bit of a hermit. He lives in his lab. He's very mysterious, very, very, dark and scary to the cadets who've only seen him a couple times. And Shadow Weaver really runs things. So Shadow Weaver really preferred Adora. She doesn't care for Catra. But when Adora leaves, she's pretty much stuck with Catra, which she's not happy about. The two do not have a good relationship. But they bond over one thing that they have in common, which is that they want to find Adora and bring her back to the Horde.
For very different reasons.
Yes.
As of right now. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, let's play a clip so we can check out what's happening with the evil Horde.
Bad kitty.
So this series is called Princesses of Power, not just Princess of Power, because there are a lot of other players in the game other than just She-Ra. So how does the best friend squad sort of, try and recruit the troops? Are the other princesses even receptive? Do they want to be part of the rebellion?
Yeah, Glimmer's the one who has this idea to bring all the princesses. They're not really talking to each other at the start of the show. Years ago, there had been another Princess Alliance. Glimmer's parents were in it. A lot of the other princesses were in it, and it didn't go well. It ended in disaster, and so the kingdoms are sort of separated, and they don't really talk anymore. So Glimmer has an idea to try that again. She's gonna go out, she's gonna find the princesses, their children in a lot of cases, and recruit them into a new princess alliance. And so that's what a lot of the first season of the show is based around, them going out and forging these alliances and making these new friendships.
Nice. And I believe we have a little clip of the princesses in action, and they are on a heist to rescue Beau in this clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very exciting clips today. So now let's get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty of the show. Obviously, this is a very beloved nostalgia property. What did you guys bring from the old to make this new version?
You know, I love the original version. From the first moment that I saw that kind of opening sequence and those characters lined up on that cliff with the rainbow overhead, I was in love, and I was like, this is made for me. And it was about, you know, like finding a version of that, you know, so that kids everywhere today can have that experience too, but with our characters, the same way as somebody in the 80s would have had watching the original show. There's so many things in the show. If any of you are like hardcore fans of the original, you've probably already caught a lot of the Easter eggs that are in some of these clips, characters, places, names that we revisit and we incorporate them whenever we can. Almost every single character has their basis in a classic character. And so that's really fun for us to do, but we also try and deepen the lore. We try and take the characters to new heights and new depths and figure out what their motives are and what makes them tick and what we can do now on Netflix that maybe they couldn't do at the time because it was harder to do serialized animation. You never knew which episode was going to air when. So now that we can air all of our episodes at once on Netflix, it lets us be a lot more serialized and have continuity. So that's, you know, I am really excited. I think that people are really going to dig it.
So what is new to the series that fans that, you know, are in love with the original She-Ra might not be expecting?
I think it's pretty clear that, we've taken some liberties. We wanted the characters to all look really distinct from each other and for their personalities to come out in their personal style, in their body shapes, to make sure that they all felt very, very different from each other. And so that was very important to us. It's also, we are focusing on She-Ra this time around, which originally most of her stories were, it was started by her relationship to He-Man, but we are, for the first time, just really focusing on She-Ra, so that's very exciting. Yeah, and then, we just we take some liberties, but, we do it with love.
Was there ever any discussion when you guys, I don't know, were like at the table read or the first production meeting where you were like, I don't know, are we taking this too far from what people are expecting, or were you just like, that's the whole point, so people are either gonna like it or they're not?
You have to take the original material and you have to take lessons from it, but also you can't be constrained by something that's been done before, because it's been done. The creators created it the way that they intended, they brought it to life in that way, and we can't repeat the same steps that they did. We have to make something that stands on its own. A lot of the kids coming to it, some of them might know the original, some of them might not. Some of them might watch the original because of our show. It's not something that you can assume, and it has to be different. Otherwise, why are we doing this?
Totally. And I actually think that, yes. I actually love the expansion of this world. I was very lucky and I got to see a couple episodes. And I am delighted to tell you that there's tons of world building in it, and it's just intrinsically one of those shows that you want to deep dive into, and I'm very glad that we're going to be able to binge all 13 episodes. But the addition of like all these other princesses, like Bella especially is one of my faves, and 90% of that is because she's like built for me personally to cosplay, so thank you for that, Noelle. But who are some of your favorite new characters to this, this insane world that you guys are building?
I think we can all agree, even from the trailer, Seahawk is dope. Am I right? He's one of Bo's idols, one of the only other male characters on the show. And so me and him together, that's another tag team duo. And I feel like it's just kind of cool because we get to incorporate so many people into the Princesses of Power, like over the course of the show, and you really get to see the journey and adventure and how we like start to all work together and realize that maybe our differences are our strengths. So it's pretty cool.
You guys got to sing together too, right?
Dropping.
I wish we had a clip of that. We don't, but I'm very
We
sorry.
don't, but I can give you a little taste.
Yeah.
No. Not a singer, but I did sing, so.
Oh, you did amazing.
I have some faves. The first one I'll talk about is Frosta, because she's a girl, like a little girl, but she's got the biggest personality out of everybody, and she is a ruler, and she's gonna tell you what to do. So I really enjoy her character so much, and I really love Bo's dads. Am I not allowed to talk about that? Oh, well, now you know. Sorry.
You heard it here first.
Wow. Spoiler alert.
I really like Entrapta. You guys saw in the clips, she's the, the tech nerd of the show. And I had the opportunity to work on a film with Christine Woods, who does the voice of this show, or of Entrapta. And it was a very serious film that we did, and it was so funny to hear her go from her serious voice to this, where she goes into her nasal part. It's just amazing what she does. And I mean, the character itself, she portrays someone that is a total nerd and totally loving it, which I think is so awesome.
And so efficient.
It is, yeah, we need her.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna fix these cables before I go do my actual job. Like, it's so cool. I love
Like, you do
robots
you, girl.
so much.
I think people are also going to get really excited for Scorpia. Shout out to my crew. Love those guys. Scorpia she's on the side of evil, but again, she is an
Heart of gold.
incredibly loyal friend, and she's just really upbeat and positive. Like, she's a lot like Bo in a lot of ways. She's just very like, okay, this is a friendship adventure now, even though we're bad guys and we might be like razing a town to the ground. It's gonna be done with friendship, and she's amazing.
Nice. And so the behind the scenes creation of the show was a little different than what happens on most animated shows. Because Marcus was telling me backstage that you guys actually got to record the episodes together, which is very unusual. Can you tell us a little bit about how it was like working in the studio with each other and what you think it brought out in the show?
I think it's really cool and super fun to work together because, like you said, normally you're just in a booth listening to Karen, who may have recorded it in Toronto or where, you know what I mean, wherever anybody is, and it's great too. But there's something about being able to look at each other's eyes and play off of each other's attitudes, and I don't know, it just seems like not work too when you do it with other people.
And as an actor too, I really appreciate our process because it's hard to get the nuance of things. You can read it as many times as you want, but it's hard to get the nuance when you have to record one line 3 times in a row, and it's so much, it flows so much better when you can tackle it like a conversation. And yeah, I just really love recording with you guys. Yeah.
Well, I actually work better alone, so it was difficult. No, I'm totally joking. It's so much fun because I've done so many other animated shows where you're just sitting in a booth by yourself, isolated, and you're like, how do I say this line? It's really nice having other people to play off of, especially such talented, amazing actors and actresses who are just killing their roles every single time. It's really easy to bounce off of that and really give your best performance. So, yeah.
I remember the first day that we had these 3 together, and it was just like, we got you in the booth, and it was just like fireworks. Like, there was so much chemistry, and it was like feeding off the energy of each other's characters. Like, that was when I knew that like we had something really special here.
Nice.
And the room is so warm. Mary and Noelle are such cheerleaders from behind the booth, and whatever we do, we feel like they appreciate it, even if it's kind of
wrong.
Yeah. They're like, we love that, but do it a little differently. And we're like, absolutely, we got you.
But you guys make us just like cry, cry and scream and laugh and just like all of the emotions. Like, we're just so in it with you. Like, it's so much fun to watch.
You also can't hear them because unless they're pressing a button. So this is how you know you did a good job. Okay, so like bear with me. So you finish your line and then you hear. Anyway, so that was great. Like, the end of a laughter is always a good sign.
That is so nice. Yeah.
Was there maybe something that you guys recorded together where you were like, oh, I didn't realize that this was supposed to be the line reading of the scene or the emotion behind the scene, or maybe vice versa? Noelle, was there something that you started to write into the show when you saw the chemistry of the actors together?
All of these actors have like brought themselves to the role in a way that like in some cases really has changed the way that we approach the character. I think AJ as Catra is a great example. I think that early on, we didn't know what direction she was going to take the character in. I thought she would be a little bit more comedic, honestly. And then I remember she read a line and it brought this emotion to it that I hadn't expected. And then I was like, oh, ouch. Like, I feel for Katja right now. We need to delve into this. And all of you have done that. I mean, like, taking that character and just adding your own voice to them in a way that it's like, we got to write more of these scenes because they do so well with them, you know? Like, Aimee's comedy bits, like, when Adora gets weird, she gets weird. And I love it. It's amazing. And it's so much fun to watch. And, like, Karen and Marcus, just, like, the camaraderie and the personality that they bring to their characters, it is so much fun to watch. All the energy, like, you know, Marcus and Jordan recording their song together. Like, oh my God, my favorite thing is when Karen, like, as Glimmer, like, because Glimmer has, like, a temper, so when she gets mad, we call it the Glimmer growl, and she'll just be like, ah, and I love it so much. Like, it's such an honor just to work with you guys. You're such an inspiration.
You ass.
Oh,
We love
No,
you.
you.
you're all great.
That is lovely. And the very last question I have for you guys before we have some announcements and then one final last clip is what are you most excited for the fans to see of the new series?
Me? I mean, all of this, everything. I'm so excited. I'm excited for you to, I feel in so many ways that these characters are real, that they're real people who I know, and so much of that is you guys bringing, you know, life to them, and so many is my crew bringing life to them and the way that, you know, they render them every day. And I am so excited for the people watching to forge their own relationships with those characters, and, you know, to be friends with them.
I'm really excited, I think, for people to see the mythology, and I think if you do binge watch it or watch it, you know, in quick succession, the world building you were talking about is so cool. And, you know, we obviously don't record every day, so I'll need like a rundown of what happened the last time I was in, and sometimes it's like a 10-minute wrap up because there's so much that happened and there's so many worlds, and I'm like, where are we again? What planet? So it's really cool, and I think you guys will really appreciate that.
I remember when I was younger, I used to be obsessed with Sailor Moon. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I love the show. And yeah, no, and I was dressing up as Sailor Moon, and I was obsessed with the show, and I'm just excited to see younger girls grow with the show and to grow a relationship with one of their favorite characters, and then maybe even see them cosplay it one day.
I'm excited to see everything that you guys do with the show and what spawns from that. Building off of what Karen was saying with the cosplaying aspect, I want to be an admin on the Reddit page, all right? I'm looking at you, whoever decides to create the She-Ra Reddit page. But I'm just hyped to see all of the fan art and everything you guys have already started creating. It's super exciting and really eye-opening to see all the history that has gone into the show and what we have to offer as well. So, yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we already kind of see it. Everyone's wearing the
I
crown.
know.
Starting.
Crowns rock.
Yeah, we got everyone the first step to your She-Ra cosplays, so we expect this entire ballroom to show up head to toe as She-Ra next year.
Yeah.
This is a contractual obligation the second you sat down. So a couple of announcements, if you'd bear with me. If you haven't already started following all of She-Ra's official accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you should do that now so you can get all of the latest updates in the lead up to November 16th. Be sure to visit the She-Ra experience at booth 502 for a really cool walkthrough photo op experience. I went this morning. It's very charming. Please go. And the best part about it is you can make
statue of She-Ra.
yes, exactly.
It's so cool. So I
Yeah,
just had to add
they
to
have a
that.
giant 8-foot She-Ra statue you can take a photo of in front of the booth as well. But the best thing about it is you can make reservations so you don't have to wait in line. It's the only thing you don't have to wait in line for at Comic-Con. It's amazing. And also at the booth, we're going to give away free character pins daily. And if you want more than just a pin, there's a whole line of She-Ra t-shirts now available on Amazon. Yeah, we got some photos of the merch up there right now. There is also a Super 7 limited edition of She-Ra and Catra action figures, which you can pre-order at booth 642 and also super7.com. And starting in summer of 2019, Scholastic is going to launch a comprehensive She-Ra publishing program, which includes original fiction for readers 7 to 10 years old, written by the acclaimed best-selling author Tracy West of Dragon Masters. And one more, if this is not enough She-Ra discourse for you, you can go to iTunes and Google Play and download some of those messaging stickers and start your very own group text to talk about She-Ra right now. And last but not least, I see everyone has their crowns and swords ready to go. So we are gonna do an epic Hammerstein Ballroom photo right now. So everybody get ready, primp, do your thing, and we're gonna bring a photographer up here and like also get dressed, and we're gonna do this.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Oh my God.
Everybody stand up. For the honor of grade school on 1, 2, 3. One more.
All right, And nobody leave just yet because we have one more clip to show you. Actually, sorry, it's not a clip. It is the full season 1 trailer of She-Ra. Enjoy! And one more time, let's give it up for Noelle, Aimee, Karen, and Marcus! Woo! Enjoy the rest of your Comic-Con!